Hey guys! Today we're gonna do a little bit different video. We're gonna do a Q&A. This has been asked for several times before in the comments box below, also in personal messages sent to us. So we collected all of these questions, and now here we are to answer them for you.
Yes, you asked for it, so we're gonna give it to you. We have split the questions up into relationships and questions all related to moving abroad, living in Germany and stuff. So I have my questions here. Let's just go straight into it. The first one about relationships, Sebastian.
Yes.
How did we meet? And how long have we been together?
So how did we meet? It was about at the end of 2017 that I first came to Singapore because of work. I was working for a German company. We had a branch in Singapore, and Jess at the same time worked for the same company. We didn't meet inside the company premises. Basically, I had a colleague show me the ropes in one of the first nights. He was taking me to a bar with another friend, and then we were having beers. And since that bar was basically just downstairs of work, this was also where Jess and some of her colleagues were having a beer. And you would think that our paths would have crossed on that night already, but it didn't.
Nope, it did not.
It was just that this colleague that took me down to have beers asked the girls in the group if they would be willing to show me and my friend, who was also new to Singapore, around Sentosa, like a fun island in Singapore on the weekend.
Yeah.
And so we only met the following weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I mean, these guys had a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun because we were really making use of Singapore's tourism trap Sentosa, and we were doing all these little rides and attractions.
That was how we met in Singapore, somewhat through work.
Yes.
And how long have we been together? We've been together for about 3.5 years now. We've known each other for like 4 years, but we've been together for like 3.5 years.
It was exactly March 2018.
Yeah.
So about half a year after I first came to Singapore. When we've then officially decided, okay, we're together.
So first question down, hope that satisfied your curiosity. And the second question was, what were your first thoughts about each other when you first met? So as mentioned, the first day that we actually met each other was at Sentosa Island, and we had quite a lot of opportunities to just connect one-on-one, and I just thought that he was really fun to hang out with. He was also really funny and very intellectual, which is what I really like. So the Klugscheißer part of him came out, and I was impressed, and I liked it. So
yeah, for me, I was because I was on a business trip, right? I didn't expect to make a lot of friends. So at first I was like, oh wow, it's cool to hang around with her. And one of the first thoughts was actually also, oh wow, for an Asian, she's tall.
You guys don't see it on camera, but I am tall for an Asian.
But she was fun to hang around with, and as she said, it was really fun, and I think we just had some chemistry from the beginning onwards.
Yeah. Nowadays we always joke about this thing of me liking Sebastian because he's tall. And if you go to Singapore, you realize that, you know, generally Asian men are not that tall. I'm like 1.8 meters, and I'm very tall for an Asian girl. So we always joke about, yeah, I only dated Sebastian because he's tall, but that's not it. The third question.
What did Jess find appealing about me, and what did you not find appealing?
And of course, you can discuss this the other way around. So, I found appealing is that
I'm tall. We established that.
He's tall, he's funny, he's smart, very easygoing, very casual, which is what I like. Yeah, and I don't know, it's just the chemistry, I guess, that sparked at the beginning. What I did not find appealing, it was very difficult to read him at the beginning. Like, I'm very used to someone just like pouring out my emotions, and he's more reserved and like keeping all of his thoughts, his emotions to himself. So that was a little bit difficult to find out whether he likes me, whether he's just, make like really good friends with me, or it was a little bit difficult to read.
For me, since I'm not a person that likes to share these kind of things, I'm not big with showing my feelings, and I'm a little bit shy, so I understand what she didn't find appealing. The other way around also makes it difficult to read her, on the other hand.
It's a surprise to me.
But I really liked how funny she is. I find it really appealing. And also how honest and straightforward she is with her feelings, just as she just said. So yeah, that was for me something I really like about her and still do. Yeah, so that was something that attracted me to her.
And next question. What were the parents' reactions to the partner or the relationship in the beginning?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Maybe we should just call my mom now and ask her.
Maybe we should.
Oh, actually, I don't really know how they felt. I think they were just really open about it. I mean, my parents, I don't know, maybe mommy, if you watch the video, you can just comment down below. And then the followers can see or read how you actually feel about this relationship in the beginning. But I guess they're pretty open about it. I mean, Singapore, we are just used to seeing a lot of foreigners in Singapore. They are also exposed to a lot of interracial kind of relationships. So they weren't like, oh my God, no, don't do this. And we're both at an age where we can decide for ourselves. So they didn't really have any negative feelings or anything. They were actually pretty like supportive about it, and they were kind of open to getting to know you during your time in Singapore, and they also came to Germany as well. So they're very open, and I think they're kind of pleased. Over the time, they can see that Sebastian takes care of me very well, and I guess as an only child, that's the only wish that they could have for the boyfriend or the future son-in-law to take care of their daughter well.
Yeah.
And what did your parents think?
So I'm not sure what their first thoughts were. We never openly spoke about it. Like, what do they think about you or feel about you? Because on one hand side, I don't care too much. It's my life and my girlfriend, and
yeah, but overall I felt really accepted when I moved over to Germany and got to meet Sebastian's parents. They were also really open to learning about Singapore, our culture, our language, and all that stuff. So
yeah. And my parents are trying really hard to also speak in English to Jess. So
yeah, and that's what I really appreciate as well. Like at the beginning when I first came here, I couldn't speak a word of German, so it was really difficult to understand them. But they put in the effort to speak to me in English, and that helped me so much in getting to know them and getting to, be accustomed to the way that you guys act around each other as well.
Number 5, the next one on our list is what is it like in Singapore to show feelings? That's a good question. So one of my first experiences with Jess was that she said no PDA. And I was like, what does that even mean? Handheld device? What? Why not? No, PDA means no public display of affection.
Yeah, I mean, it depends from individual to individual. There's like people that are super, showy and touchy in public, but for me, I just don't feel comfortable. That's my preference, but I think in Singapore it varies. There's people that are super reserved, but there's also people that are very affectionate and they show all of their feelings to the rest of the world. So it really depends on who you're dating, I guess.
Yeah.
And especially in front of parents.
Just feels super uncomfortable with like kissing in front of parents. So that's not what we're doing a lot.
I don't feel comfortable, even not in front of his parents. So I guess it's just individual. Maybe it's my upbringing. I don't know. Could be. Next question. What is it like when you have a fight? Are there differences between Germany and Singapore in how you deal with it?
For us, the most important part is that we actually talk through it.
Yeah.
Like, yes, feelings can be hurt, but we shouldn't linger on it. And since I'm a very rational person, I also would like to get to the bottom of it and like find a solution. And this is something I really appreciate about Jess, because yes, in the heat of the moment, both of us might just be like, no. And then if after we cool down, we sit down and
talk through it.
So I don't think we can generalize how fights in Germany or how fights in Singapore are.
And I think maybe if you really want to draw a difference, probably the fact that you are willing to apologize. I don't know if I'm gonna be, throwing some very bold statements out there, but the previous boyfriends that I had, Singaporeans, they don't really, like, the ego is there, and then even if they're in the wrong, they don't really apologize. But the fact that you realize that you're in the wrong and you apologize, it makes it so much easier to kind of come back together after that with a positive mentality and to reset things. But there are a lot of good Singaporean men out there as well. Maybe I was just like having bad luck. Yeah, if I really had to nitpick and draw one difference, maybe this is it, but it's all based on my personal experience. So I'm not overgeneralizing whatsoever here. If you really want to figure out, go date a Singaporean man or woman yourself. But that is all the questions that we have on relationships. Now we move to the questions about moving abroad. First one is, what was the initial reason that made me move? This.
No, we have to be honest here. So Jess was in the very beginning already thinking about moving out of Singapore.
Yeah.
She wanted to discover the world, but her initial target was actually Spain.
Yeah, because I did my Erasmus in Spain, I really liked it. So when I was close to my graduation, I was like, I really, really want to go back to Spain or to Europe and just get out of Singapore. For me personally, I just felt that the whole Singapore job culture is a little bit too competitive for my liking. And some people might say like, oh yeah, you're just escaping the reality. But I mean, it is what I like. And if I like Europe and I have the opportunity to move here, why not? So that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to move to Spain. And then I met Sebastian. And then he moved back to Germany. So I thought like, okay, Singapore and Germany compared to Spain and Germany was much better. So we talked about it, but
we had lengthy discussions because she was so focused on going to Spain and initially, and then she rather quickly switched to, I will just come to Germany and live with you. But our relationship was still so young, and I was like, yeah, but why not just go to Spain? Spain is much better because I can travel from Germany to Spain within several hours. It's much better than Singapore. And we can, continue to get to know each other because the distance isn't as long and big.
We tried that. We tried that for a few months. After my graduation, I moved to Spain and then I lived there for like 3 months. So we had this like whole transition period. But I think overall we just felt that it's much easier for the relationship to be in the same city, to be together so that we can develop together as well. Yes. And so we made the decision.
And I'm glad we did.
Yes. So the next question, probably something for me, is that were your parents supportive from the start? How did you convince them if not? And then this ties really nicely with the next question. Can you do a video on how you actually managed to tell your parents? Because knowing that Asian parents are overprotective, I have no idea how I would go about to let them know and to even make the move to Germany. Well, first of all, I think my parents are very, as mentioned, very open. I think from a very young age, my dad has been telling me, okay, you have to see more of the world. If you get the opportunity, go out there, explore outside of Singapore. I think overall, a good way that you can convince your parents is that moving overseas and getting that job opportunity job experience overseas is extremely good for your CV. So that's one very practical way that you can convince them. And probably another way that you can convince them is to tell them your plans. Could it be just like a 3 or 4 year rotation overseas and then you're back to Singapore? That would kind of put them at ease a little bit.
So I think for her parents, it was just reassuring to know that
if anything happens here, I can always go back to Singapore.
And she has thought about it. So she has a plan.
And I think it's different if, you say you want to move here on a job seeker's visa and find a job here. I would think Asian parents would find that a little bit too risky. But for me, is that I already have a contract in Germany and I'm moving here with a job, with stability, with Sebastian, someone to take care of me. So they were pretty okay with it and they were like, yeah, just go for it. They were super open and supportive. So probably that could help, having real ideas on what you want to execute or what you want to achieve once you move over to another country. With Asian parents, it's all about practicality, right?
But I also remember the initial time when we talked about the plans, like where there was nothing concrete there yet. You also were super worried about what your mom might think about the whole idea. And so because our plan for Jess to move to Germany also got delayed by almost a year, she had more time to gradually convince her parents as well and tell them that this will be the reality, but it's not very sudden. There was this year transition period.
Yeah, exactly. So I think one huge thing was also the fact that I did not want to move to Europe or to Germany specifically without a job. So for myself, I knew that I needed to get a job and then I move here. I don't want to move here and not know what I'm gonna do. So maybe that helped a little bit to convince my parents. And then the last few questions is, what is our favorite and least favorite part of living abroad?
Ooh, that's tough. So on the one hand side, I mean, the most obvious one is being separated from friends and family. I think
that's the least favorite part.
That is the least favorite part. And for me, the most favorite part is discovering something new.
Yeah.
So every day is a little adventure. You're challenging yourself to a new thing. You're growing as a person along the way. And for me, this is so valuable that I would put it as my most favorite thing about moving abroad.
I think I totally agree. Moving to Germany, I think a lot of Singaporeans are very comfortable at where they are at some point, but moving abroad really pushes you to your limits. Stepping out of your comfort zone is my favorite part because you get to learn different aspects of yourself and you get to develop into, someone that really knows who you are as a person. So, and the least favorite part for me is not being able to see my family and friends. And the food, oh my God, just if Singaporean food can merge with like the nature and the lifestyle in Germany, that's perfect. That would be the perfect country to live in. So that's it. That's all the questions that we received from you guys. We hope that has satisfied some of your curiosity. If you still have any other questions, leave them down in the comments box below and maybe we'll do another Q&A at a later stage.
And at this point in time, I mean, we just want to also say thank you for more than 500 people subscribing to our channel. You are awesome. Makes us really happy to see people like our content.
Yeah.
And if you're not yet subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you see whenever we release a new video. And we will see you hopefully in our next video.
Bye.